Teaching setting is one of the most overlooked reading skills, when in fact, setting is connected to so many other important and critical reading standards that it actually is really important to take time and dive in to what setting can offer our students. So today, I'm actually going to offer you 3 amazing mentor texts that you can use in your classroom to help really bring teaching setting to life. So, are you with me? We're going to dive into my 3 favorite mentor texts to teach setting. But before I show you what they are, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss anything new from the 𝗦cie Harris Teaching channel. So, super quick video today. I hope you're going to love it. And you can find all of the links to these setting mentor text in the video description. Just click that see more button below and you can find the links to these. So I'm going to start with my absolute favorite. This is called The Garden of Abdul Ghazazi, and it is by Chris Van Allsburg. So if you know anything about Chris Van Allsburg, he's the author behind 𝗦cie𝗰𝗶𝗹. His books have a lot of depth to them, a lot of meat. And this one is perfect for teaching setting. So the story is about this young boy and this very, very naughty dog. The dog's name is Fritz. This little boy is asked to watch the dog because the dog cannot go with his owner because he's naughty. And while watching him, he loses him. And he ends up losing him while out on a walk. And the dog gets lost and goes into the house of Ghazazi. So you can see here is the house, and what's even better, the page before. So that's the entrance to the house of Ghazazi. So there's a lot of really great illustrations in here to talk about how setting affects the mood and also the plot of the story. But the book goes on, and Ghazazi is actually a magician, and he plays this big trick on the little boy because he does not like dogs. He plays this trick on the little boy and pretends that he turns him into a duck. So the little boy is all devastated. You know that he lost his neighbor's dog, got it turned into a duck, but in fact, the dog ends up coming home and is absolutely just fine. So this, like I said, is a great book. It's a fun story. Your students are going to love it, but it's really great to talk about mood and how the setting impacts the mood of the story. So you've got the entrance to the gardens. You've got the gardens themselves in the house of Ghazazi. You've got Ghazazi's house itself. Just look at that. What kind of feelings do you get when you look at that house? How does the setting really connect to how you're feeling? And how does it connect to how the little boy is feeling? So there's a lot of really great ways to connect setting, a basic standard, but connecting it back to a lot of really important topics that are going to help them understand this story better. So number 1 pick, The Garden of Abdul Ghazazi. Definitely check that one out. All right, my next one, and this is another amazing book. I want to find some more ways to use this one, but definitely setting. But this one's called 4 Feet and 2 Sandals. This is a book about 2 young girls who live in Afghanistan. And one day there is a refugee truck that comes and delivers some clothing to the village. One girl finds one sandal and another little girl finds another. And through them sharing these sandals, which hence that's where the title comes in, 4 Feet 2 Sandals, that's where this beautiful friendship blossoms. And it has a kind of a sad, bittersweet ending. But overall, this is just a fantastic story. This is another great story. When you're introducing and talking about setting, how does the setting affect the plot of the book? So there's an obvious connection between setting and plot here. So with the setting being Afghanistan, with the setting being in this refugee village, the setting even goes into more detail and talks about, the illustrations are beautiful here. Talks about, how they have to walk from Afghanistan to Peshawar, the refugee camp in Pakistan, the things that they have to carry along their walk. So there's a lot of really great content in here that you could talk, and all of it relates back to the setting of the text. So how would the story be different if this story took place in the United States or in Japan? Talking about how How does the setting help create the problem of the story even? Why was Afghanistan picked for this story, this particular setting or plot? So a lot of really deep conversations, and again, great way to really bring setting to the forefront and show those connections to your students. So again, 4 Feet, 2 Sandals, definitely grab this one. And then my last one that I'm going to share with you today, you can always find more suggestions over on the blog. I will link the blog post down below. This one is called When I Was Young in the Mountains by Cynthia Rylant. You probably have read this one. It is a classic. This is a great one for really talking about settings in small moments, talking about finding descriptive language in the setting and visualizing the setting. So there's a lot that can go in here. The book itself is very simple. So it talks about this young girl and when she was young in the mountains, but each page you could talk about how does setting show up in this page. So this one talks about how her father would always give her a kiss and how his lips were the only thing that were clean. He was covered in dust from being in the mines, in the coal mines. And so why is setting important here? Well, they're in the mountains. Think about jobs in the mountains. When people really live that secluded, that affects, the opportunities they have to have employment. There are only so many jobs that you can have when you live in the mountains, unless you want to commute, and that may not be an option. So being a coal miner is an option here. And so the setting directly affects that particular part of the story. And then, of course, that affects this illustration that you see here. And it goes into talking about things like the outhouse. There's a great picture here of them swimming in a water hole in the pond, out in the woods, out in the cow pasture. It talks about the little town and the store. So a lot of great small moments where setting has clearly impacted what is happening in the story. Another thing that you can talk about, like I mentioned, is the visualizing through that descriptive language. So they're pumping pails of water at the well, at the bottom of the hill, the heated water to fill round tin tubs for our baths. You could talk about the adorable little house. There's, again, so many ways to bring setting true to the forefront and make it so much more depth and than just time and place. It is really such an important standard, and it really needs to have the emphasis that it deserves in order to make these connections come to life. So grab your Amazon links to get any of these books. In the show or in the description below, you can click the See More button. I hope that you love these suggestions. Again, if you want more, check out the full blog post. And I'll see you next time on the 𝗦cie teaching channel. Bye, everyone.